There we go. Back again after a nice 2 week
It
hiatus.
didn't work at
I
first,
know,
did
and I was
it?
like, well done, that was a test, but it's good, we're good. We're back.
Yeah,
What's been happening? Not much. Did our special episode on in the
not much.
forest. Okay, in terms of my life, there's not much that's changed.
Okay, yeah.
Um, but obviously, in terms of the world, many things have occurred,
Mm.
and that's what the start of this podcast I briefly want to discuss, just to shine light on a topic that needs to be talked about, I think, more often. And I understand that this podcast is, yeah, obviously a small platform that people may watch something on, but at the end of the day, it's a platform which we need to sort of appreciate what's going on in the world and acknowledge it, and not be ignorant towards the fact that something as big as it is going on. So I think
Mhm.
it's good for us to talk about Black Lives Matter, the whole movement towards the innocent killings of not only just George Floyd but all the other Americans and across all the world as well. But mainly at the moment, it's just targeted to America because there is unfortunately a lot of racism in America, and I think America is really racist. I think as a whole country, it is a racist country.
Yeah, I think we need to be careful not to box it in though. Like we have to understand also that it's all about understanding that racism, it transcends that about one country. It's not, there's racism present here in the UK as well. Obviously, like it's going to be different, and there's different cases, and it might not. Some might say it's not as extreme, but obviously it's prevalent still. And we need to make sure we're keeping this issue raised and make sure it doesn't sort of, fall back into the shadows, because that's where the problem occurs. It becomes this viral thing, and people treat it as just basically like a viral social media stunt, yeah. And then it just sort of like it's trendy, and then when it's not trendy, it's dropped. But we need to make sure it's not dropped, because at this point, I think the whole idea is that George Floyd's killing was just sort of like that one step too far over a cliff that had been building for hundreds of years. I mean, you look at the treatment of people of color from all around the world. Like it's crazy the way that they've been treated, and I think it's just a job. Obviously, as like three white guys, three white males. People say, "Oh, we're the epitome of forgotten the word. Sorry,
Epitome.
uh, no, of like we get, we basically we can't. Oh, I've
We're,
completely forgotten the word. But
I get
yeah,
what you
but
mean. We're
we're very
privileged,
privileged,
yeah.
very privileged, yeah, very privileged. So
Mm.
I think it's important for us to make sure that we are keeping this issue in the limelight, educating ourselves, making sure people can educate themselves as well, providing the links to do so, which I believe Spencer is on the channel.
Yep.
Um, yeah, in the description. Then I think we have like a Nightbot set up or a chatbot set up
Yep.
to do that as well, to send out links. But we just want to make sure that everyone who can is donating, and everyone is signing the petitions that they need to. They're in the links, doing their bit. I mean, yeah, it's really important. You can't let these egregious acts of disgusting violence and racism happen to people who are, part of our race. We're all human.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. How we are all human at the end of the day. I think it is very key that we all come together, even if, like I know you said it happens everywhere, but the main suspect and target at the moment is America, just because we've seen literally all 52 states protesting at this moment, and just finally all coming in unity, for something that should have been, or shouldn't even exist. To be honest with you, it shouldn't. And it was the same. It was the same back in the day when we had the suffragettes, when women aren't or weren't as equal as men, and they still fully aren't to this day. But it's good to finally see, like you said, that moment where George Floyd was that moment at that cliff, and
Yeah, there's
it's
catalyst for it, really.
exactly, yeah. And it's good to see everyone sort of coming together. And I like Finn said, I've got links. I'm posting one in the chat now. That's like the best link to look at. We've got informative education. It's got all the, like, not all of them, but a lot of the place you could donate. You can got petitions on there, hundreds. I've signed a lot of them as well. It's
Yeah,
also
yeah.
just up to date news on the whole movement and the laws that are constantly changing.
That's what we like to see.
That is what we
That's what we
like to
need.
see. Yeah,
That's what we need.
and also like even if you want to protest, which I mean, debatable during times of a pandemic, but if you would like to protest, there's even a
Yeah.
protest map on the website. So look at where the protests are happening, how you can get involved. Peaceful protests, obviously. Um, and unfortunately, obviously you've seen the news. There has been a lot of like opportunistic people just taking advantage of these protests and looting, looting and just robbing just local family shops, and unfortunately that's affecting the economy even more as well. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunately seen. Yeah,
I think the biggest point from the looting is that it weakens the message that they're fighting for.
exactly. It reduces the validity of the protest. You're right.
Yeah, like if you're standing there and if you're taking advantage of the situation to loot, then you're doing nothing but showing that you're not steadfast in your message and your purpose. You're just gonna take advantage of this whatever situation comes your way. And if you're going out looting just because it's opportune, instead of staying within the peaceful protests and staying within the laws like you should be, well, ironic. It's ironic, isn't it, staying with the laws in this sort of time? But um, but just taking advantage of that is extremely questionable, and I think it's just damaging to the cause.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've got to be careful before criticizing it. I think, definitely it gives people more of a reason to criticize what's going on. And, I see what you mean about devaluing, but I think that in a way, maybe that sort of thing is what's more likely to get noticed by government. Like if you're like attacking like businesses, and I mean, I guess I would maybe be more supportive of attacking like the big chains rather than small family run businesses, yeah. But like I don't know, I think I can see how looting sort of forces the government to take it more seriously than they would otherwise. Like if they see all these buildings on fire and they see like people, like Target being robbed or whatever, I feel like that does send quite a strong message. But yeah, I mean, like it's a difficult one. Like, um, because obviously it affects people in the community, but negatively as well. But there's definitely pros and cons to it. Basically, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Like it's not clear cut, but it is a difficult one to call.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, ultimately, there's pros and cons to this whole to protest in general and the way that this has gone out. But I think the main thing that's really pissed me off is the way that Trump is dealing with this and how it just shows that he should not be in charge of a country. Like it is pathetic, like what he's doing, because he's doing nothing. Like I mean, there was an article. Did you see I think it was Tuesday. Was it Tuesday? Where he went inside his bunker for the night, turned the White House lights down, all the lights were off.
Yeah.
And hid in the bunker, and his excuse was they were inspecting the bunker for the night. I think that's an absolute joke. Like he's obviously deployed the army now, National Guard in a lot of the states, because obviously the protests got quite out of hand. We've seen pictures burning buildings. I just think at the end of the day, so many people are losing their faith in Trump, or what little faith he had left.
Quite rightly.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah. I mean, we can only hope that, again, this is a catalyst for another type of change where people realise that now their vote matters more than ever. And next time next time they get to vote someone in, which, is pretty soon, isn't it?
Yeah. Is it the end of this year? Or
it's actually November this year, yeah. Which is perfect timing.
So, I really, really hope that this is a huge smear on Trump's campaign and his whole presidential standing, because the way that he's acted not only in response to this but in response to so many past issues, the way he has handled himself in regards to representing America in a lot of issues, dealing with China and North Korea, is abysmal. and the fact that now it's so close to home, and now it's such a pressing issue that is, it's a huge thing. I've never, it's been, I can't think of the last time that something this huge has drawn such public interest and public motivation to get, just huge amounts of people out on the streets, huge amounts of people protesting, a huge amount of people standing for what they believe in, despite the current pandemic, which is, something I never thought I'd have to say, riots protesting Black Lives Matter in the middle of a pandemic. But, you've got to wake up and realize that the way he's acting, and the way he can just sort of, sit and casually send out a tweet saying, when the looting starts, the shooting starts.
Oh, that was,
How
yeah.
detached from reality, and how how abstracted from the goal, from the goal of the Black Lives Matter movement is your president. It's crazy.
I think the example that I heard about was, so like a church outside the White House had been damaged a bit by protesters, and so there's a video of, well, I don't think, basically a load of protesters got tear gassed in order to like get them to go away, so that Trump could come out and take a photo with the Bible in front of the church to sort of, I don't know, to try and make a point that they're attacking Christianity or something. But there's literally a video of him walking out to this church, like surrounded by like military police and that sort of thing. Like, so he just, I don't know. That's just such a sort of Trumpish thing that I thought was just like typical of him, and just crazy. And
just the way he conducts himself.
Mm.
I mean, the fact that he has to just to leave, he has to have this horde of armed policemen and military guard and personnel is baffling. You see the leaders of other countries in this current pandemic. Like, I saw a picture of, I can't remember if it's the prime minister or the president, but it was the leader of Portugal. He was, in your average shopping, in your average shop, just queuing, had his mask on, socially distancing. No one was paying mind to him. He was just going about as a normal citizen. Yet, Trump is going about like he's this, the last human on earth, and he needs everyone to be focused on saving him. And he's this, he acts like he's been sent from the heavens, and he is this one redeemer, and it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing that I want to sort of segue off this segment is the only way impact's actually going to happen is by voting. Unfortunately, in the society that we live in, like, there's only so much protesting you can do until the military get involved, which they have started. And at the end of the day, like, what are you going to do against the military? Like, they have full-on armor, full-on guns. Like, if this gets serious, people will start getting violently hurt. Like Trump said, when the looting starts, he'll start shooting, which is vile. Like you said, vile.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the whole point of this movement is to change, and for change to happen, you need to start voting. And people our age and people even a bit older than us just don't vote enough. And so hopefully this is a catalyst to start voting, especially when it matters later in the election polls in America, especially, but as well as here for us, because we won't see change until we actually vote.
Yeah, it's beautiful because these it's beautiful, but in this horrible way, is that all these recent events that have been so dramatic, so large and drastic in scale, is that it has exposed the weakest parts of the governments that we and the US put into power. Like, you see the flaws of this Tory government, and you see the flaws of Trump's leadership. You can see them being exposed during these horrible times. So it's really, really good proof to show that they're not cut out for it, frankly. And one thing I actually noticed just before we slip away from the topic, I just wanted to say that I think yesterday was the Tiananmen Square 31st anniversary, ironically enough, which, the way it's heading in the US, I wouldn't, scarily enough, I feel like I couldn't rule out that kind of event happening there now, where the government just brings in military help, and it all sort of gets out of hand. There's a there's a protest, and then it becomes a bit of a riot, then it becomes dangerous, and then all it takes is one shot, and then the rest of them start firing, and then it's a massacre. It's scary to think that right now I feel like it's not that far away from something like a Tiananmen Square incident happening in the US.
But I also want to bring up quickly, just have you seen the images of the rubber bullets that have been used?
Yeah.
And the
Actually,
damage.
still, no, like what? I don't understand what a rubber bullet is. I'm going to be honest. Is it like airsoft, or is it like
No.
know,
So what I read about it, it was like this. So the center of it, or the main part of it, is, I can't remember. They said it was something really really hard, like it was like metal or ceramic, and then it's coated by thick rubber, right, or something like that.
Yeah.
But fundamentally, rubber bullet makes it sound really, really, not that intimidating, right?
Yeah.
But I think if you look at the actual rubber bullets, they are not. I think I read somewhere that it wasn't a non-lethal weapon. Like it has the ability to be lethal.
So they do go in rather than bounce off, basically. Like,
I'm not entirely sure is the way they work, but I just know that they are far more. They're engineered to be far more sturdy than than is required, and we can see that. People getting shot by these rubber bullets have these huge gashes and holes in their heads, and it always seems to be headshots. It's crazy that the police are getting in so many vital spots. I saw a picture of there's one woman going for a shot. She was to the side of a protest, but she was just going on her shot, just a daily shot, and she gets shot by a stray one right in the forehead, and you can see that she's getting dressed by paramedics or whatever, but there's a huge hole, like really deep hole in her head, and there's blood everywhere. She's crying, and it's just like the fact that they can bring out these rubber bullets is mental.
I was just looking at the rubber bullets. Rubber bullets have actually killed people before, and they've actually left people with permanent disabilities. And I think, how is that still legal? How is that still allowed?
It's crazy. I think it's just, I don't know. I've heard of them like sparingly before this, but now it's all over the place, and the fact that it's still being used is ridiculous.
Well, yeah, our police use them as well, especially when we had the London riots. They were used then as well, especially with tear gas as well. We had, it's just deterrence, just to get protesters away.
Mate, it's just one small step away from a real bullet, fundamentally, isn't it?
Literally, yeah, and like I said, like people have died. People have genuinely got permanent disabilities from them, just by the way or where they were shot at. Especially near the head, like you said.
Yeah.
Lethal. That is lethal.
You're seeing so many irresponsible, policemen who've got these weapons. I've seen so many clips of policemen who are obviously acting from pure adrenaline or pure aggression or anger, and have no regard for the safety or protection. Serve and protect, mate. They're not protecting. They are just acting on a whim, and potentially killing or maiming citizens that are peacefully protesting or just standing up for something.
It's also interesting. I don't know if you saw. There's one of the petitions is to stop the UK from selling stuff like rubber bullets and tear gas to America, because
I saw that.
A lot of it is made in the UK.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's something that could be arranged. That would be. I can't see it happening. But...
No, I mean the fact that BJ hasn't even addressed the whole US riots. I feel like him stopping the exporting of that is extremely low. We could only wish, really.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
It's just nuts. It's just that 2020 has turned into a nuts, like insane year. Like I've never thought I'd see, not only just the whole of America go into like almost a revolt, but we've seen a global pandemic. We've seen massive forest fires. Australia. We nearly had a war as well at the start of the year. That seems like such a long time ago. Yeah, it's only been 5 months, if that.
We've been through some shit already,
and it's
not looking like it's gonna stop.
And it's scary because we're not even halfway through, like the year.
Really. You see all these jokes now, like you guys wait till you see what September or August or insert month here brings, and like you were going to be looking outside, and there's going to be these huge discs in the sky raining fire upon our cities. Like, it's going to be War of the Worlds type of shit next. It has to be.
Hope not.
I think I'd prefer that, to be honest.
Yeah, at least it would be a nice end. Like, everything would be sorted. Everything would be finished. You don't have to worry about any of it. So done. But yeah, also one of the things, Spencer,
Yeah.
Madeline McCann news. We've had it.
Yeah,
Mm.
we have. Well, just want to slowly depart away from that. Just to finish off, just go vote. Simple as donate, vote, sign petitions, share your voice on social medias. Just keep active, but also stay safe. You know, it's scary times as well. Don't forget there is a pandemic going on, which we'll talk about in a minute. So you just make sure you're safe. While expressing your voice and opinion on a matter that needs to be talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah, in other news, moving on, Maddie McCann.
Maddie McCann.
She's back.
She's
Well-
back.
Well, yeah.
We'll see.
The German police
Um,
didn't fucking think so.
Yeah, I saw. So they think they're treating it as if she's dead.
Yeah,
Presumed dead, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Very bizarre.
I mean, she could be locked up in a basement somewhere, right? It's happened before,
yeah,
but-
exactly. I'm not.
I heard somebody saying, I don't remember, it must have been on Instagram or something. Somebody was trying to make out that this story's only broken as like a distraction away from
Yeah,
all the other stuff that's going on. That was a bit of a conspiracy that I
Reckon?
came across. I don't know if I believe it. I'm just saying that.
I mean, any story at the moment that's different from coronavirus or riots will just sort of gain a bit of publicity just because it's different.
Yeah,
It'll stand out from
for
everything
sure.
else.
yeah.
But yeah,
Mm.
it's a bit weird how this has just randomly been brought up, just out of
It's
nowhere.
sort of being used as ammunition for the movement now as well, just because people are saying, why is money still being poured into
Oh,
this?
yeah, that's
One girl,
Mm.
so many years later, and there are these people, people of color that have gone missing, and there's been barely any searching. There's been barely any funds poured into it, stuff like that, which is egregious. So, but yeah, sorry, I don't want to move. I don't want to. We're going to keep it rolling.
Yeah, we'll keep it rolling, but it's a good point. Like,
Yeah, it's obviously
How-
still valid, but it's still important to bring it up.
how much have they spent? It says so it's cost more than 11 million pounds so far.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Since 2011, apparently, just to go across the whole of Europe.
Mm.
That's not even including from the years 2007 to 2011
Damn.
when she actually went missing. But yeah,
Oh, you got dab, Spencer.
What?
You got dab.
That's the second one, bro. That's two.
Oh, okay, lovely, thank you.
Also, on other news, the hairline is still pretty bad. I do need a fresh. I need a trim. I need a trim here. I just
Do
need
you
a trim on
reckon?
the sides. Just need a trim on the sides. Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully we'll be able to, get on that sometime soon.
I reckon you can socially distance.
I'm
it.
excited to. No, but how can you socially distance a haircut? Like,
I'll wear a mask.
let's say
man.
have
I'll-
like
Nah,
scissors
it's not
on,
social
like
distance.
you just got to wear one of them
like
suits.
like loppers, like
Oh yeah.
like in
Oh,
Edward Scissorhands. or something.
garden shears or something. Yeah.
Yeah, that might be the way forward.
But no, it's I feel like so many people now have just completely dropped social distancing. Like,
Yeah.
Mm.
100%. even outside of, because obviously I know a lot of people have been not socially distancing within their friend circles. Yeah.
Mm.
And obviously, given what Bojo said about, having this friend circle and meeting up with them, I can understand, because as long as you're keeping it within that, it makes sense. I guess it's not really. I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm really torn. I am.
It's because especially with the recent announcement, was it on Sunday? Yeah, like 4 days ago. They're like, okay, you can now meet up with 6 different people in a group outside, right? Socially distanced. The amount of people that are actually going to adhere to that is very small. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but it's such vague rules, It's such vague
Yeah.
guidelines. Like, they shouldn't even allow that, in my opinion. It should just be strict until we've hit
Yeah.
this stage and then release, It's just
That's why I'm
slow
so
little
torn.
pieces which make no sense, and so people are just losing faith in the government, especially with current times. Like, Boris has just poorly handling this. In
But
my
even
opinion.
before that announcement, we had
Oh,
so many people going out and not socially distancing. But
w-
I just I can't figure out whether staying within a friend group and not socially distancing. Obviously, it might not be what the government is saying should be done, but it's far better than so many people have done, especially in places like London. Even 2, 3, 4 weeks ago in London in the parks, it's crowded as fuck. People are not socially distancing. It's not possible. And then on the beaches as well, in like Dorset or Devon, they're crowded, not socially distancing. But that it's weird because we should be right about now coming up on this next spike, right?
yeah, I'd say give it a week. Yeah, and I reckon we'll see a big spike. Unfortunately,
See,
but
if we don't, then I'll be very confused.
same. I'll be like, right, I guess I don't know
Yeah.
anything about the virus.
Mia brings up a really good point though. On the streets, it doesn't matter. People don't care. Okay, I say people. I'd say maybe 30% of the people that I see on the street give a fuck. Like I'll look on the road, right, and I'll see if there's a car coming. It's a bit tricky now, obviously, because I'm in the city. But I'll make sure there's not a car coming. I'll go in the road, so if someone's coming on the pavement the other side of me. But even when I'm shopping, no one cares. It's funny. I'm queuing up outside my local shop, and socially distancing in the shop, socially distancing in the queues, walking in the aisles, basically kissing and touching, mate. The amount of contact that's being made in these small aisles is ridiculous. Like there is no social distancing, and I look like a right mug. I'm sat at the end of the aisle waiting for this bloke to choose what kind of rice he wants. And he takes like 12 minutes to choose he wants whole grain, and then comes back the other side and brushes right past me before I even get time to dodge out of the way. It's not. I just don't know how it's supposed to work.
I don't. There's only so much you can do. Like that is in my opinion, it's impossible to not come in contact with people for such a long time because, like you said, you need to have shopping. You need to go shopping for food. It's just all about minimizing it, really. And there's like
I feel like
Sorry,
I feel like the initial shock has worn off.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
You know what I mean? So for the first few weeks, everyone was like, "Oh, shit, this could be, deadly." And obviously, we know that it is. But after a few weeks of sort of sticking to that, I don't know. It's inevitable. I think that people are going to starting to think, "Why am I doing this? Do I need to, go into the road to pass someone?" Like.
But do you not think that given that we had such a relaxed lockdown in comparison to a lot of European countries, and yet we have such a high, I think we have the highest death rate in Europe, right?
Yeah, we do, yeah.
And I don't understand this mindset of we're just. I completely agree with you, Herbie. I do, yeah, because it is natural after however many weeks or months inside. And not seeing anything actually happen apart from figures on the TV, it's hard to truly relate your situation to the context of the entire country. And you're sort of it's so easy to just be like, I'm going out for a dog walk. I'm not going to change. I'm not going to go to the other side of the road for this person walking past me just because why not? Why do I have to? I'm not seeing that much around here. And I just feel like it's a really, I don't know, it's tricky because I completely understand that. I do feel that, but then I also do feel we really need to be taking this far more seriously, given the way that the government has dealt with it for us.
I think the second peak thing is obviously just really scary because I feel like everyone's been hoping that we'll push through another month and then back to normal, but the risk is that doesn't happen. That's the scariest thing for me, I think.
I think that's what's also available now is the stats we didn't have before. So now we've been through it for about 3 months. If you look in the UK, 90% of the deaths are people aged 80 and above.
Really?
Yeah. So people are a group. We've only had 2, maybe 3 deaths from between 13 and 20. Yeah, you can look them up. Yep, we've only had 2 or 3.
No, for really young people, it is actually the numbers are actually really low.
Yeah. And so
I did see that.
I thought it was I thought we had like 2 or 3 in the first few weeks.
There was a few media stories of 17-year-old dies, but in terms of actually across the board, it hasn't been many at all.
Okay, so that's weird. I was really under the impression that it wasn't so heavily weighted on age. Like I thought it was quite, because obviously there was a big thing. It was that whole scaremongering thing, like, oh, people of all age are dying, people of all conditions are dying. Be scared.
Yeah, and that's how the government control people. We've seen it. We talk about it in our religious podcast.
But that is good.
That's good. It worked.
Good.
Yeah, it worked. But obviously, people are seeing the stats now, and they're thinking, right, no one my age is dying. Let's just go out, and that's why you'll see loads of people out there. It's the main risk is let's say we go out and we get it, right? Let's say we're asymptomatic, we don't get it. We come in the house, we spread it to our parents who may be more vulnerable. That's where it becomes more scary, especially when you're living with maybe some people live with grandparents. That's where it's scary. If you're young like us, you're going out, not giving a fuck because the likelihood of you passing away with it is very low. And so people come back, maybe asymptomatic, pass on to someone who's more vulnerable. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's what people are forgetting about. And understandably, I can see both sides, but at the same time, I'd rather play on the cautious side and not sort of jump back to normality straight away.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, for sure.
And also because did you see South Korea started having their second peak already? So that they opened all their schools, and within the first couple of days, they had to shut them all again because people started getting corona again. So they shut all the schools again, and I just think we've literally just done the same. We've just opened our schools 3 days ago. Obviously, bearing in mind, I'm pretty sure not everyone's gone back to school at the same time. We've still opened that sort of public area where viruses love to swarm, and so we'll see what happens about that in the next week and a half.
I think the open area is not as bad.
No, but schools in general, when you're sat in a classroom, that's right.
No,
That's what I mean.
That's also exposed time, right?
Exactly. It's just I don't know. I don't agree with it, and many scientists as well don't agree with it at all. But the way that Boris is dealing with it is not ideal. But unfortunately, we live in that capitalist environment where money is more important than lives, and so they want to restart that economy, and that's why you'll see people start going to work and stuff.
Yeah.
Same as
shops opening, isn't
exactly.
it? 15th, is it 15?
Yeah, 11 days.
Yeah.
But you won't see me in the shop for a while. No chance.
No. I can't say I miss shopping. It's not at the top of my list.
Yeah, and what do we need
I'm not
as well?
gagging to go to H&M or something, you know?
Yeah. You realistically don't need anything.
Yeah.
Maybe a new pair of shoes.
ASOS.
Yeah, bro, that's what I got, bro. Yeah.
Services, mate. So many delivery services. We don't realistically, apart from food shopping, we don't need to leave the house. So.
Exactly, and so.
But obviously we will. It's the way that it will go. Fortunately.
But one thing that sort of links with sort of the riots and protests is since everyone's sort of at home, right? Obviously, Corona time. Oh, chill, bro. Out home.
Sorry.
They have a lot of spare time. We all have a lot of spare time, and so people are obviously going to be getting bored. And when you're seeing protests outside your street, let's say you live in a city, you're more likely to get involved, and that's why I think we're seeing such big protests, because it comes at such I don't want to say a good time, it's come at such a time where everyone's more likely to be on their phone and see all this media, that they're going to have a lot more exposure and a lot more eyes looking at stuff.
Yeah.
And that's why I think we've seen a big increase in people joining protests and stuff because of it. Because they have nothing else to do. If people aren't going to work, why not join a protest?
The beauty
there's pros and cons though. Oh, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
All right, I won't be long. No, it's pros and cons, because obviously, and I agree with you, the fact that people are at home and maybe aren't as busy and they therefore can reflect on what's going on more. If that means that we actually make some progress and these issues get traction, then great. Obviously, it's scary when you see such massive crowds of people and you're thinking, is that just going to mean that in 2 weeks' time we see a massive spike? I mean, so that's the balance, but I think it's good that people are able to have the time and focus to think about these big issues going on. But
yeah, I agree with you, actually. I was going to say that I think it's it's a real double-edged sword. It is, because obviously the more traction it gains, it's going to be like a snowball. More people are dragged into it, and the bigger event is, the more easily people are persuaded to get involved. So the more people that get involved, the more people that might usually not, there are more of them that are persuaded to get into it. So I think that's the good thing in terms of making a difference for the movement. But I mean, like Herbie said, you cannot in a pandemic have huge amounts of people collect in one space for an extended amount of time and expect things not to go wrong in some way. It would be beggars belief, and I'm sure we shall see the consequences soon. Like you said, maybe 1.5 weeks we'll have a spike, I think, and it will be not too great. And they're gonna have to just restrict. They're just gonna have to re-restrict all the things that have been relaxed over the last week and so.
Yeah. But then maybe we're just looking at it pessimistically. Like maybe we're just being those people that, oh, it's gonna be bad. I mean, what if it is over?
But it's not. There's people still infected, a lot of them, and the fact that you couldn't possibly say that there are none that have gone to these protests, and all it takes is one. That's the thing, isn't it? It's a virus. It spreads really quickly. It spreads. That's what the whole thing is. It spreads really quickly. It spreads really easily. So it would be, as much as I don't like being the pessimist, I do tend to be a bit of a realist, and I'd want to say, just to err on the side of the caution, that it's going to go bad. It's going to go. We're going to have a bit of a peak, and that's why I don't know. I feel like I still want to stick to my, safety precaution, socially distance, etc. Just to cover my tracks.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'll completely agree with you being a realist in this situation. I don't think enough people are, and that's why we're seeing a huge increase in sort of people going out more. Like people, like Mia said, like people are just getting bored. Like they're just nothing else to do. Go out. Just forgot the severity of the virus because less and less. Obviously, the numbers are reducing, but it doesn't mean it's not still there.
Yeah, of course.
I wanted to bring up.
You go.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up obviously with all the sort of riot stuff going on, the big huge catalyst that we've seen is the group Anonymous.
Oh yeah.
Obviously these guys have. I can't say obviously. These guys have. They've been around for, I think 2003 they've been around. I remember the first time that they sort of impacted my life was sort of Nerdily, where they had a little disagreement with Sony and they kicked off Sony's servers for 2 weeks. And that was like back in 2011. But they've been sort of around every now and then when governments or some things become unjust and they see like they should take action, and they do. And I think one time was in Australia. They changed some. I don't want to speak too much on it because I don't actually know a lot, but I remember there was definitely an event in Australia that they had a huge impact in, and especially in the Middle East, like Saudi Arabia, I believe. Something with an oil deal, sorry. But now we're seeing them back again in 2020. And they've I don't know if you've read a lot of the leaks and stuff, but some of the stuff that they sort of whether it's real or not, some of the stuff that they've accused many high profiles of is quite disgusting, to be honest.
What sort of stuff?
I mean, where to start? Like, obviously we know. Did you watch the documentary on Jeffrey Epstein on Netflix?
Oh,
Yep.
I've got one more. Me and Julia are watching it. Got one more to go. But
yeah, I've got one left as well. But
yeah.
So they had a leak on that where they had court documents of his case, and Donald Trump was mentioned in it. And it was one where Donald Trump was involved in sexually harassing a girl, and she was 13.
Well, I mean, it's not entirely surprising.
Yeah,
because, there's many implications that we see there's the pictures of them together. He travelled to the island. He travelled to a lot of his houses.
Yeah, it's just it's crazy like that. Just how many, as you go through that program, and you see more and more people that are like linked in this crazy web of like
hugely powerful people.
It's just really scary. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be that surprised if Trump's been involved legally.
And I think you
Yeah.
could tell by the way he conducts himself, in the way he speaks about women, speaks to women. You know,
Yeah.
in the past, quotes that he's had. I think there was one really, really interesting quote. I can't remember it. Hold on, I'll see if I can find it actually, because it was pretty bad.
Just to link back with what you're saying, obviously Epstein was jailed, but there was obviously a conspiracy that Trump actually had him killed because of the stuff that Trump did.
Yeah.
They want to keep that under wrap.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, you got it?
Sorry.
Yeah, keep going, bro.
So,
keep going.
No, Trump said in 2002, he said that Epstein likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. I mean, when you're literally comparing yourself to interesting women, and you're talking about Epstein, you're not painting yourself in a very good light, are you? You're not. It's not a sign. You're not signing yourself up for a very fun ride, because you could just get so many. Yeah, I think you could just see in the way that he acts on camera, and obviously the allegations about the sex worker, or what was it? Was she or an actress, porn actress or something?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
implicated
with Donald Trump.
Yeah,
Oh, Stormy Daniels. Yeah,
that was the one. Yeah. So, you can see he clearly has, little respect for these people. So the fact that he would take advantage of women or take advantage of a minor, I feel like that at this point I've pretty much accepted it. And the fact that I've also accepted the fact that it's never going to be, or it's very unlikely to be brought to light or actually dealt with in a way that's impactful. Like the idea of him getting brought up on charges for that, I feel like that's it's a far reach, just because it's so. I heard you said it's this huge, deep web of lies, deceit, and disgusting behavior that is really, really entrenched and related to many people of power, and therefore, the likelihood that it's going to get exposed or anything will happen of consequences quite low.
Yeah, and that brings a good point of why Anonymous brought it up. It's because with all the protests going on, the reason why they brought it up is because Epstein was a rich and powerful person. Same with Donald Trump. He's extremely rich and extremely powerful. Same with Prince Andrew, is surprising on the list. And the reason why they brought it up is because they're trying to show all the things these rich and powerful people get away with. Not only just the murder and racism of the African Americans and black people in general, but the way they sexually harass underage people and get away with it. And it's not just like one person, it's hundreds and hundreds of people that have been affected.
Yeah.
And that's why they're leaking all these documents about them, just to try and just increase our awareness on what's actually going on behind closed doors. Unfortunately, that's the name of our podcast, but I guess it's good that we're opening up these doors.
Yeah, we're getting a bit of, maybe we'll get some more hits on internet just for being, having the namesake.
Yeah.
One thing I actually read was quite interesting, is that a former head of MI6 said that he believes the coronavirus was started by accident in the Chinese lab, which is quite a theory that's been floated around quite a bit. But he talked about like this important study by British and Norwegian researchers where they claim to discover clues suggesting key elements were inserted into the virus's genetic sequence, where it didn't evolve naturally and was basically designed to thrive within our social environment.
Really?
Yeah, obviously, what's the validity of that? You could never truthfully say unless you had concrete evidence, but it's something that's been floated around quite a lot. I just wondered what you guys thought about that.
How can they decipher that from a genetic code? Is that possible to see how?
I don't know. It's just research. I mean, you can
biology A level.
Yeah,
I failed that for a reason.
They have RNA.
Yeah, 100%.
RNA polymerase.
Just like in anything really, you can go down to a genetic level. with the technology we have. Study it at a genetic level, right? Obviously, it's not my field of expertise. Maybe more Herbie's, but I believe
No,
that's
I've left that behind me.
it's further than I got.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm skeptical about the whole thing just because I feel like Trump, for example, loves to call it the Chinese virus and to deflect it just because there's like this sort of Chinese-American trade war going on, so it's very convenient for him to be able to say that the Chinese are that started it. I think there's definitely room to criticize China for having not responded quick enough, perhaps. I don't think I don't know. I don't buy the thing that it's some kind of like biological weapon that's been spread to try and wipe the world out or something.
No.
Obviously, it's worth looking into, and it's interesting. But yeah, I don't know. I'm
Could be
not
just
sure.
a test run
Maybe
for a more deadly virus, perhaps.
Maybe.
Hope not.
Yeah, that's what we've got to look forward to in July.
Oh, brilliant. And another thing that got uncovered by Anonymous is, surprisingly, my boy Avicii got brought up again, right? And he also got linked into all of this because...
Epstein? No.
Yeah, because...
No way,
No, not involved as in he was involved with it, but as in he knew about it. And so, this is obviously a very big conspiracy theory.
So this is your
hero.
No.
Yeah, this is my hero, but there's actually evidence as well where in his videos and stuff there's I'll find the clip and send it to you afterwards, but the whole point is that he didn't die of suicide. He got hit on again.
Oh, right.
Like Epstein did.
Because
he knew and was gonna say
Do you actually
Why would Avicii have known? I don't understand.
I'll
tunes.
The tunes are everywhere, bro.
So Spencer, do you think are you one of the people who believes that Epstein was for sure killed and was not a suicide?
I haven't done enough research to conclude my opinion on it, but I think I'm slowly leaning towards that because it makes more sense. Okay, maybe I shouldn't make more sense, but I don't want to leave it out of the question. I think it's something that is very interesting to think about and should be considered because of the climate or the current situation with the documents that we have and evidence that we have against Epstein and Trump. So I wouldn't be if it came out somehow, I wouldn't be surprised. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, to be fair, I don't know if it's the last episode of the Epstein documentary, but they do discuss the theories circulating about his death and the fact that there's the thyroid bone, which is under the tongue, like in your neck. Basically, it's like detached from any other bone. And they said how there's this telltale sign of a certain type of force, such as like choking. So people who are choked to death, they have a fracture of the thyroid bone, or hyoid. I can't remember if it's thyroid or hyoid, but they have this fracture in that bone, and they basically talked about how if he had hung himself, then there would have been no fracture. But on Epstein's hyoid or thyroid bone, there were several. So it sort of suggested there was, someone maybe, had got the bedsheet wrapped around his neck and then basically pulled very forcibly until his neck, until he suffocated or whatever. So, one of the guards maybe, possibly.
That's what, and it is more than doable, especially with someone in such high power and with loads of money. Like, this is what the whole point of Anonymous is trying to show is people in this position or in Trump's position, for example, can do whatever the fuck he wants and get away with it.
Yeah, pretty much.
And so I like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if he was somehow hit on by a guard and just choked to death.
Hit on?
Okay.
You're
let's say, I heard it. Don't pick up the Trump soap, boys.
Hit on by God.
By the guards.
The guard, right?
As in the guard completed a hit on him.
I
think
that makes sense.
Rather than crushing on Epstein.
Yeah.
So I was a bit confused. So did you mean that Avicii basically just somehow knew about?
No. Okay. So yeah. So
and then was possibly killed
So
because of that.
yeah, so the reason basically he was on the list that was released, right, or leaked.
A
Let's
list
say
of people that what
that
list?
it's just a list that people that were involved with Epstein sort of scandals or knew of
So
it
you
or
think
something.
you think he's implicated?
I don't think Avicii would do that, bro. He's not a
Is that
freak.
is that your personal bias? Is that your
That
personal
might be my
bias?
personal bias. Maybe I can't
Mate,
view it objectively.
Avicii's definitely a
Avicii-
mastermind
Avicii-
of the whole thing.
But the difference between Avicii and all the others is he's a lot younger, like a lot younger
So
than.
what? So what?
Yeah.
Mate, this
So if I'm
doesn't
looking at
matter.
if I'm looking at patterns, right, it is usually a lot of older men.
don't constrain yourself to patterns when it
Okay,
comes to
I
something
won't.
like paedophilia.
If I look at it objectively, then maybe yeah,
I
he
just,
could
I just
have.
think that would be silly because you know anyone could be a paedophile as long as you're over 18, right?
No,
So
agreed.
it's-
But if you look at stats and stuff, it's usually a lot older people.
Yeah, of course, but you know.
So I'm
like,
just going. I'm going
stat-
off stats. I'm going off stats.
If you're talking about stats as well, however many hundreds or tens or however many people were old people that were implicated or involved in the crimes of Epstein in the paedophilia ring, then surely there's that you've got to have that one outlier who's the statistical representative for the younger audience. No, so if it's 99% old people, then 1%. The 1% is Avicii.
Have you considered that Avicii might be Epstein's son?
There's no chance. That's
that's
ludicrous.
That would make sense. In lots
No, it's
of
not
ways.
ludicrous. It's Avicii, mate. Different artist.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. The evidence that I found now is so before Trump got elected in 2016, Avicii made a video with one of his songs, and it was actually about child trafficking.
Oh.
So in the video, you can see the children getting bought and put in the cars and stuff.
So we're
I know
going
it's
to
a
find out that this video was not actually staged. It was
Yeah.
Charles in action.
So he was filming, and
He's
then
just like, right.
at
fuck
the
it,
end,
no.
the children have grown up and have actually taken revenge on the people that sold them.
Right.
And so apparently the evidence of this is that he wanted to expose / send us a message, and his video was released a few months after Trump's campaign. So it's very loose at the moment. Obviously it's not. But that
Yeah,
I was just very surprised to see his name amongst a list of people that are a bunch of creeps, basically.
I reckon we need you to do some more research on this.
I'm
Find out.
definitely going to. He's my boy.
Yeah, please do. I think if you play all of Avicii's songs backwards at 2x speed, he actually tells you all of the secrets, mate.
He exposes all the locations and the names
Yeah.
of the victims, and you know what happened to them, and it's oh, it's gonna be this massive controversy. And, yeah, we're gonna have a
But yeah,
Spencer's whole life will be ruined. He's gonna have to destroy all his Avicii.
I was about to get a tattoo of him as well.
Imagine that.
I
Oh,
was,
no.
bro. I am in September.
Oh no, you were as
No,
well. You
no, it's
were.
only a little logo, little
Yeah,
logo.
I know, mate.
Yeah.
If he's a pedo, it cannot be.
No,
done.
but the only reason why I don't think this is, I just think it's a load of rubbish, basically, is because if you've watched his sort of true, there's a documentary on Avicii and how he had a lot of problems with just alcohol problems and drug addiction, basically. So it doesn't surprise me that he sort of overdosed.
Yeah, I know. That's fair enough, but you know.
Obviously, you can't rule it out. Maybe there is that 1%,
Yeah,
you know?
pedo.
Never mind.
Yeah,
Never mind.
1% chance or whatever
He
percent.
could be an alcoholic
He
pedo.
could be an
like,
alcoholic pedo, but I really hope he
Mm.
isn't, because he is my man.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we all hope he isn't. Cause,
Yeah, true.
Well, yeah, but yeah.
But the video in question is called For a Better Day, if anyone wanted to watch it.
Or a better day.
Avicii For a Better Day. And the first minute and a bit of the video, I mean, generally the whole video is just about child trafficking.
Yeah.
So it's basically a song about it, which I didn't actually know.
That's quite a weird thing to make a song about.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Just,
I don't.
just to put it out there.
But even weirder, I've gone to the comments of the video and they're all recent comments because of the leak.
Mm.
All recent
Ooh.
comments of just talking about what's happened.
So maybe this song is just a cover up of his. He's like, right, look, I know I've been involved in all this, but just to throw him off the tracks, I'm gonna make a video
Yeah.
talking about the advocation of abolishing this kind of stuff. So they will not think they won't think on it for a second. Don't worry. And then obviously Epstein's not taking any chances, and he's killing his own son because that's what it takes when you're in the business.
Yeah.
Nonce tattoo. I'm not getting a nonce tattoo.
Yeah, you'll have to plan, like, if it comes out that he was the mastermind, what are you going to replace the tattoo with? Like, could you, like, what is his logo?
It's just
Well,
two
I'll tell you
triangles.
what,
It's just two triangles. So I
So
can
you
easily.
could turn it into something else. 3 triangles. Mitsubishi. Yeah, that could work.
Or even.
Oh
Mitsubishi
yeah,
logo.
huge fan
Yeah.
of Japanese cars.
Right.
I'd have to buy one then as well.
Yeah, probably.
The blue bullet's gone.
Yeah, why not?
Oh.
Or you could just, yeah, I don't know, just cover it up with "I hate pedos."
Yeah.
Or just
in-
completely
in
get it removed, boys.
Cursive font.
Get it removed.
Nah. You
That's
definitely
expensive,
Yeah,
yeah, don't-
you got cover up is more realistic, so
Mm.
it's better. Yeah, but basically, fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers
Please,
crossed.
she's not
Yeah,
dead.
we're good.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, I'm happy with that, boys. If you guys are, if you had any other points to add.
No, we've covered a wide variety of things, so I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, it's just like it was a.
Touched many bases.
Yeah, exactly. It was a current topic sort of event. Touch many bases we can. And yeah, just obviously, if you have no other things to say, I just want to leave it on a same again, promoting the Black Lives Matter sort of movement.
Yeah,
I'm
please
gonna-
donate.
Please
Sign.
donate if you can. Petitions are free. Like, what's your
Yeah, yeah.
excuse of not signing one? It's
Also, but there are, there's alternate ways to contribute to the cause.
Oh, 100%.
If you cannot donate, there's sources. Hopefully on the link, which will take you to ways.
Yep, links being posted in the chat every 10 minutes. I'll leave it all in the description of YouTube as well, and on Spotify, Breaker, any other audio platform that you're listening on.
Oh, quickly, sorry, I was going to say what topic we doing now?
I have not thought of a topic next.
Did you want to do?
I'll happily do anything, to be honest. I'm like.
Because I suggested social media. What did you say?
Oh
about
yeah,
that?
social media. I'm down to that. Yeah, that's a very good
Yeah?
topic. That's
Right,
really good.
cool,
That's
cool,
really good.
Like,
I think we should
yeah.
get someone that also
Uses
agrees.
it?
Yeah, no, someone that doesn't use it, like someone who doesn't post.
Oh,
Because I think us two.
but we don't post that much. We're not.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, what's the difference between someone not posting at all? Like Keane, for example, has nothing on there. What's his reason?
Yeah, but he won't come on, will he?
True, but I just want to. Yeah, we want to try and get someone out of the extremes.
If anyone doesn't use social media, please come at us. And we're not talking about social media in regards to spreading information or news and that kind of stuff. We're literally talking about like stuff like Instagram or Facebook, personal posting on social media and the effects, why people do it, and stuff like that. Just a nice discussion, but good to have viewpoints from alternate ideas. Yeah,
Agreed.
perspectives. Sorry. Yeah. Cool.
Thank you, Harry, for coming on. Have you
Thank
No
you.
worries,
enjoyed the
mate.
topics?
Thanks for having me.
No worries.